Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. New Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has just created a department for drainage management as the state government continues to grapple with the overwhelming issue of internally generated waste. The combination of blocked drainage and mountains of refuse, which are very visible across the metropolis, has been blamed for the worsening environmental dilemma in Lagos. Side by side with this is a plethora of competing priorities, which continues to hamper the government's ability to meet the infrastructure needs of its more than 20 million inhabitants. For a perspective on this, we're now being joined here at Arise News by Gbenga Omotoso, Lagos State Commissioner for Information and Strategy. Gbengus, welcome to the morning show.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations on your appointment. How has it been from the newsroom to government corridors?
Well, very challenging but exciting.
Very good.
Very tough, very interesting.
But I mean, there's this perception out there that the governor of Lagos State is not moving fast enough. People say that, you know, in more than 100 days, they don't quite seem to see what he has done in terms of momentum, in terms of strategy. And I was reading yesterday online, somebody saying, well, he's not into, quoting him as saying he's not into noise making, that he's actually working. What has he been doing? What are the priorities? How far has he gone with his theme agenda?
Well, the governor has done a lot of things in the areas of health, area of housing. You will recall that during the 100 days celebration, we commissioned the housing estate in Igando, and it's an estate that had been there for some time, abandoned. Now you get there, it looks so beautiful, named after the former governor, Alhaji Lateef Jakonde. Then in Etiosa local government, the MCC, the hospital for mother and child, and you get there, you see the excitement that the people have shown about such a project. It's a very thoughtful project that people who live around that area, they don't need to come to Ikeja or other places to find health facilities for kids and for women. And in terms of education, so many things are going on. The governor is trying to bring technology into education so that primary education, for example, can be better, so that people can send their children to public schools and not just private schools that are just there and they don't seem to have competition from public schools. The face of public schools is changing. So many things were done during his first 100 days.
Well, let's go back to housing, because you've mentioned that the governor has been doing some things, but do you think it's enough? We know that on an international scale, Nigeria is constantly being pinpointed, especially Lagos rather, has been pinpointed for its lack of supply of housing. We are a very populous nation, as you know. So what is the government doing to ensure that we are addressing our housing crisis? Because it is a crisis, you'd admit.
Yeah, you are right. Lagos is growing every day. People are coming into Lagos. About 6,000 people coming to Lagos every day. The population is estimated to be over 22 million. So in that kind of situation, you need massive housing program, which the government has planned to do. And by inviting the private sector to join us with the government, the housing ministry is doing a lot. There are so many projects that have been abandoned.
Why have they been abandoned? Why?
Well, I will not know, but some of those projects are the ones that this administration is trying to bring up now, so that they can be useful to Lagosians. People can have houses to live in, like the one that I spoke of in Igando. There's also another one recently in Etiosa local government, so massive. So the government is trying to fix all of that so that even as the housing program is on course, all those other ones that were not touched for some time, they will come up and then they will be put in proper shape for people to stay in. So the housing challenges. How long will that
take? When can the people expect to see real, tangible changes to their living situations?
No, this government has 4 years to put in to run its program.
Sure,
and I assure you, in the very first year,
4 years.
In the very first year, there are signs that you know that money shows the day, as they say. There are signs now that the government is doing something. Like I told you, the one that was done in Igondo. Lagosians didn't know about it, that such a beautiful estate existed. It was there, and this government came in and completed it, and it's now a beautiful place for people to go and stay in. And I'm talking about another one in Etiosa local government, which the government has moved into. A committee has been set up to go and see what can be done about the place. It's a massive estate. And I'm sure that by the time...
How many people do you think that could service? You've said it's massive, but how many people, once it's completed, do you think would be able to get relief at that
I will not be able to estimate the number of people that can stay in there now, but I can assure you it's going to take hundreds of families.
You know, when people talk about the Lagos State governor, they usually talk about the comment he made about the traffic gridlock in Apapa, although he denied it, that he didn't put a time frame to it. But that traffic gridlock, not just in Apapa, or in other parts of Lagos, you know, has not disappeared. Instead, what we have is a task force even seizing motorcycles that people rely on to be able to get away from this traffic congestion. What's the strategy for making sure that Lagosians can move freely around the city, not just in Apapa or Tinkan, but in virtually every part of the city?
You are right about the traffic situation. Traffic management is one of the a major part of the theme's agenda of this administration. And even before coming in, the government, this administration identified about 60 gridlock points in Lagos that most of the time you have traffic jammed. And then it moved to resolve this matter. And by fixing some of the roads before the rains came, and then the question of motorcycles being arrested and all that, people have concluded as part of the reasons for the traffic jam is a lack of enforcement of our laws. People ride motorcycles where they are not supposed to ride motorcycles. You find commercial drivers parking where they are not supposed to park. And all these are part of the problems of the traffic gridlock that we are talking about. And we feel that if enforcement is there, if traffic lamps are working, if people are disciplined, that's what we are talking about as traffic gridlock will almost disappear, because majority of our motorists, they don't want to be obedient. They are just, they don't consider other road users when they are driving. So that is part of the problem. It's not about the government not doing something about it. You can see that Apapa is almost free now. It's almost free. The task force has not necessarily that of Lagos State government, but in collaboration with the federal government, the Apapa is almost free. At least you can say 90% free. The trailers are off the bridges. You can't find them again in Surulere or in Faraday as it used to be, that they stretch all the way from Apapa to the mainland. So it's a problem that the government is tackling, but people have to be obedient. They have to obey the rules. Drivers have to be disciplined. And a lot of advocacy is going on about at motor parks, at companies have been encouraged to train their drivers very well. Commercial drivers have been encouraged to obey traffic rules, not to drink when they are driving, and then to comport themselves in a way that they will not disturb other road users. So a lot of advocacy is going on. We all have a role to play in that.
Another source of distress in Lagos is this menace of flash floods. I mean, every time it rains, Lagos grinds to a halt, more or less. And I know that the governor has appointed a special advisor on drainage management, you know, and there's a lot of emphasis on the environment. how soon are we going to see a difference? Because that has not really happened. When it rains, the city just grinds to a halt.
Yeah, as you have
One
said,
will have thought that it should be declared an emergency.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the rain is a natural. You can't stop the rain from not falling. But there are drains that should be cleaned so that the water flows freely. And I'll show you there are gangs that are doing this. Yesterday, I posted a picture online of one of our teams working in Obalende, cleaning the drainage channel there. The drains, the big ones all over Lagos, they have been taken care of as I speak. And then the small ones, there are gangs who go around anytime it's raining to ensure that the drains are flowing. So it's not as if the government is not doing something about it. It depends on the volume of rain that you have. And all these floods that we are talking about, they are just flash floods. In about 1 hour, 2 hours, they will disappear. But as the trains and the floods are there, people are anxious that it will just disappear like that. It takes some time for the floods to disappear. But what you can see is that we haven't been recording any casualty when you have this kind of a situation. There are places where you have floods. There are states where there are floods and people die. But on Lagos roads, things may be slow, but you can find that traffic still flows, no matter how slow. And after about 1 or 2 hours, the floods, they disappear because the drains are working. So we have gangs taking care of the drains, even during the rains. And now, when the rains are not there, they move around and see what they can do about blocks, drains. Anywhere they find drains being blocked, they go and clear them. And Lagosians, some of them are doing very well, calling us and talking about drains being blocked. We have gangs who move there almost immediately to get them such drains cleared, so that when you have rains, you don't get floods getting the city stuck.
We talked about flooding. I'd like to shift the conversation now to waste management. You would be aware that Nigeria is responsible for 63 million tons of waste every year. Lagos, obviously, that's under your control. When do you think, for the sake of this city, this state rather, when do you think we can expect to see that level drop? It is a massive amount.
Yeah, you are right. But very soon, I think everybody will realize that when we talk about the environment, the challenges for all of us are not for the government alone. The government is doing a lot of advocacy and is going to do more to tell our people that we shouldn't dump waste where we are not supposed to dump waste. We shouldn't throw plastic around. But the ultimate thing is to eradicate the use of plastics and maybe use a bottle. I think about 500 or so companies have been licensed in Lagos now to recycle waste. And when these companies go into operation, I think a lot of what we call waste now will become wet. And then Lagos will not, the kind of ranking that we have about the environment will not be there. But like I said, the ultimate is to encourage the use of, say, bottles and then drop plastic, which is not good at all, very difficult to dispose of. And because around Lagos, you still see some people, they feel that they have to dump plastic into channels, drainage channels. They have to, some will go and burn and then polluting the environment. So people have been encouraged not to do all of that. And there are private sector people who are joining the government in doing this. I think I know of EcoBank who are getting people to get plastics off the street and then they're paying them for doing so. So if all these efforts, collaborative efforts continue, well, it's not going to take too long for us to get to where we are going to, a clean environment for everybody.
Is the government planning any kinds of incentives in the meantime to promote that delivery to come quicker, especially with plastic, as you said, every single piece of plastic that has ever been created in this world since the beginning of time is still on the planet. It doesn't degrade. It is a huge problem across the world, definitely here in Nigeria, definitely here in Lagos. Is the government planning any kind of incentive to get the people to recycle more and understand the negative sides of plastic use?
Yeah, the government is, number one, doing advocacy to let people realize the danger of having plastic all over the place. And then ultimately to know that the use of bottles is better than plastic. And it's doing a kind of collaboration with the private sector. As I have said, about 500 of them have been licensed who are ready to tackle this problem head-on because they have realized, and other people too have to realize, that it's a problem that concerns all of us, and that if we don't do something about plastic and other waste, we're going to all get choked, and nobody wants that. We want to leave a clean environment for generations coming, and for good health, you need an environment that is free of all this plastic waste. Now people are being taught of how to sort such waste. During the 100 days of the governor, His Excellency Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, we launched what we call the Green Bus program, under which people were given various bags, like 3 bags on how to sort their waste. You don't put everything together. The program is being done from one area to another. It's a gradual thing. We're not being introduced to all Lagosians at the same time. Traders in the markets are being encouraged not to, or now to sort their waste. People in homes in some estates have been told and encouraged to use such bags to sort their waste. And we believe that once that kind of thing catches on, everybody will fall in line, and generally we will have a cleaner environment.
Well, let me ask you, what kind of man is the governor, Jide Sanwo-Olu? I mean, it looks like people can't figure him out yet. Other than that, he was the one anointed by the Godfather to take over from Akinwumi Ambode. But you have worked with him for some time. What's your impression? What kind of person is he?
Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu is a man of high intellectual capacity. I mean, a man who has been in public office for years, a man who held a very big position in the banking sector. He's a man who is passionate about whatever he's doing. And this assignment that he has the mandate of Lagosians to run the state, he is passionate about it. And that can be seen in his team's agenda. He has a vision of where Lagos should be by the time he leaves office. He has a clear idea of what he wants to do, and he's going about it in a manner that shows that he has a passion to do it. And he's a man who is full of compassion for Lagosians, for the downtrodden. And then he's a man who does not believe that people should not be treated equally. He treats everybody equally. And I have not seen, only very few governors are as accessible as our governor. Somebody was telling me the other day that he tried to see a governor for 4 years, but he couldn't. And that under 1 week that he wrote, he spoke with somebody that he would like to see, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. A meeting was arranged. He's a man who accommodates everybody, and he has the capacity, the energy.
Is he independent, or he has to report to the political godfathers on a daily basis? As we hear, is the standard practice in Lagos, and one of the problems that Ambode had, because he didn't pay enough obeisance to the godfathers, or a particular godfather.
Now, I know for sure that Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has not reported to any godfather since I've been in the Executive Council of Lagos.
He has abandoned his godfather?
I mean, maybe, everybody has personal relationships with people, but in terms of governance, in terms of policy, nothing has shown, and there is no evidence, any proof that he reports to anybody before he takes any decision. because he is capable. I mean, he is there. Like me now, he has put me in office, and he feels that I know what to do, and he allows me to do the job. And I believe that he too, he believes in that kind of independence. Personal relationship is different from public relationship. He does not report to any godfather, as far as I know.
But how comfortable are you in the office? Because I recall that, I once left the newsroom to go and do government work. And some people will say, why will Abachi move from criticizing to becoming a government spokesperson? Now it's your turn. You have moved from being a critic to a government spokesperson. How is the atmosphere?
I think
how are you managing the switch?
It's a very challenging and at the same time exciting, because it's a new experience for me, learning to deal with people and learning to be democratic, unlike when I was in the newsroom, when I could order things to happen within minutes and things will happen. But now I will have to follow what some people think is a due process, which I will feel is slowing down things. It's a very difficult situation, but very exciting and very interesting, because it's a new experience. I'm learning new things, and it's an opportunity for me to show my talent, how to organize people, how to relate with people, how to portray the government of Lagos State and the government in a good light. And I think I'm enjoying it.
You missed the newsroom.
Of course, I miss the newsroom. I miss shouting at people. Here, you cannot shout. I miss staying behind and then writing things, and people don't even see my face. They just see the writing, and then they either get excited, anxious, or they want to feel like seeing me and then battering me. I enjoy laughing at people through my writing. I can no longer do that, so I miss such.
One thing I really liked from your answer to the doctor just there was that the governor has a very clear set of plans and processes in which he wants to achieve his goals for the next 4 years. Now, as I'm sure Dr. Rubin would agree, we definitely here at Arise News, we like problems to be identified, we like to put them to the people in power, and we like to find out the plans and then the actual actions. So tell us more about what the governor is planning to do with these 4 years for this state of Lagos.
Now, everything that the governor is planning to do is enumerated is clearly explained in his team's agenda.
Right.
Right from his campaign, he spoke about his plan to make Lagos a greater economy.
How?
By creating a smart city. For example, all the kind of things that you see when you go overseas, when you come here, you find such things like technology, for example, building a city that would be easy for people to go around in transportation. You have various means, not just everybody jumping on the road in cars, and ease of doing business, to be friendly with the private sector, so that when people come to do business in Lagos, which is, of course, the 5th largest economy in Africa, when people come to do business here, they feel free, they feel safe. Security is doing a lot. I
mean, what about ease of business in Lagos? We already know, and I've been saying this for days, actually, that since we talked about on a national level, that Nigeria's current rating on the ease of doing business scale is 146 out of 190 countries. We know that Nigeria is a country and Lagos is a state and a city. But in Lagos, what is ease of business? What does that even mean? What is its status right now? Briefly.
That's what I'm saying. Right now, we are not where we should be. We should be a smart city that will show that a greater Lagos is possible, a city that technology works, everything works. There is a good road network, transportation, ease of doing business. You want a document from government, you want to set up business, you don't have to sweat so much to be able to do that. On your computer, right in your office, you can get everything you want to get in Lagos. You want to pay taxes, you don't have to start going to Alausa, you can do everything online. So that kind of city state that will encourage investors to come in. And when investors come here, they feel safe.
Well, smart city. Yeah. I mean, we too live in Lagos. We would like to see the city becoming very smart, truly. Thank you very much, Gbenga Omotoso. Thank you very much, Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Lagos State.